Okay, to pick up on Christopher Columbus, we're really getting places with this story because it's going to lead to something pretty cool. So, a couple of things. Christopher Columbus went back to Spain to talk to Isabella and Ferdinand and showed them the gold, a little bit of the gold that they found. They knew it wasn't the same as, amount of gold as they would have found in Asia or spices or anything like that, but they decided that it would be cool to take a bunch of people back over to the New World, the new land that they found. Well, also what was happening is in this this big country called England, there was a king there that was not allowing people to worship or be religious or go to church the way that they wanted to. So he basically made them go to church with him or however he went to church. So that's not really fun, right? If you don't have a choice, but you just get told exactly what you have to do. So there were some people that lived there and they said, I think that we should go with Christopher Columbus and journey over to this new land that he found. So basically, there are some people that we now call the Pilgrims, and they traveled with Christopher Columbus back over to this new land. So let me just tell you a little bit about this. On a warm September day in 1620, 102 men, women, and children gathered in the port town of Plymouth, England. They walked up on the gangplank of a small sailing ship bound for a new life in America. Most of the passengers were Puritans. They were leaving behind all of their family. They were now pilgrims making a pilgrimage in search of religious freedom in the New World. So they wanted to be able to do whatever kind of church or religion that they wanted to. They didn't want to just do what the king told them. The name of their ship was the Mayflower. It was not meant to be a passenger ship. Rather, it had been used to carry cargo to and from France for many years. The pilgrims were crowded into an area beneath the main deck, along with the ship's cannons. We do not expect trouble, the ship's master told the pilgrims, but we must be ready in case it comes. Pirates patrol these waters looking for treasure and waiting to capture unprotected ships. The passengers took turns going up on the deck for fresh air and exercise. Despite the calm seas, a few passengers became really sick. The air between decks was often stale and it was not comfortable. Gradually, they grew used to their cramped conditions on board the Mayflower. The Atlantic Ocean, however, was only waiting until they were far from the shore to spring her traps on them. "Storm's a-comin', Captain," cried the sailor one day. "Aye," replied the captain. "See to it that everything is tied down so it won't wash overboard. If we start taking on heavy seas, warn the passengers to do the same." Soon enough, the storms and the high winds of the North Atlantic struck with fury. Now, even those who had been so far untroubled by the ship's motion felt sick. The Mayflower, tossed high on huge waves, was lifted and dropped down forcefully again and again. Rain poured down upon the ship and dripped between the decks. A few men offered to help the crew. One was tightening some ropes when a great wave hit the Mayflower from the side. Before he could grab his rope, the wave struck with all its might. With a cry, the man was thrown over the side. "Man overboard," yelled the ship's navigator. 3 men rushed to the side of his ship, throwing ropes toward the struggling men. He managed to grasp one of them and held on desperately as he disappeared under the water. Sputtering and grasping for air, he bobbed to the surface, still holding the rope. The sailors drew him closer to the ship, and reaching over the side, one of the sailors grabbed the man's arm and pulled him to safety. Fortunately, the storms soon blew itself out, but the passenger remembered their fear. After that, a few of them dared go on the deck. At last, on a clear, cloudy November day, the cry went up, "Land ho!" "Yay!" the pilgrims cried. They had crossed the wide ocean and reached the eastern shores of North America at last. The pilgrims had no idea what to expect of the new land ahead of them, but they had heard stories of the native people living there. So while they called their destination the New World, perhaps it was not such a new world after all. Okay, so now we see that more people are starting to make a journey over to the new land, which is the land that we live on today. So we're going to be learning tomorrow what happens and how the Native Americans help them. And then the next day we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving. I'm so excited. Okay, so that, my friends, is all for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow.